Showtime Eric Young was one of TNA's most beloved and one of the most iconic figures in TNA history. Having have won multiple championships in TNA was what made Eric Young a star. From winning multiple TNA tag team titles to winning to winning the to winning the TNA World Title, and even also, if you can believe this, the TNA Knockouts tag team titles alongside ODB. Eric Young was such a beloved individual in TNA that it wasn't long after being a part of TNA for so many years, he got released from the promotion. After that, he got signed to WWE, where he was a part of NXT for several years, where he formed his own faction known as Sanity, alongside Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, and Nikki Cross. Everybody except for Nikki Cross got called up to the main roster, and it wasn't long after that. We fast forward now a few years, Eric Young gets released from WWE, and over the last few years or so, Eric Young re-signs with TNA, and we just discovered that Eric Young has once again been released from TNA. This has now sparked a lot of questions that fans have been wanted answered for a minute now, and one of the big questions was, could we see Eric Young back in WWE? And the answer is yes. And here is the reason. There were multiple reports saying that Eric Young's release from WWE was mutual. Apparently, rumor has it that Eric Young was unhappy with his position in WWE, and he requested his release. Luckily, supposedly that release was granted, and he went out on good terms with WWE, and they essentially told him that whenever you're ready to come back, we will have a contract waiting for you. And he essentially was like, okay, yeah, I'm down. So there is a very high possibility that we could see Eric Young back in WWE. People seem to have forgotten that Eric Young is a former NXT Tag Team Champion, and if my memory serves correct, he is also a former 24/7 champion as well. In fact, I actually do want to look that up myself, which I believe that is the case. I believe he is indeed a former 24/7 champion. Here we are. So Eric Young's championship accomplishments in promotions such as TNA and WWE. Think about this. In TNA, he's a former two-time world champion. He's a former X Division champion. He's a three-time King of the Mountain champion. And obviously, if you guys do not know, that championship was known as the TNA Legends Championship, which was introduced by Booker T in 2007-ish, 2008. And then it turned into the Global Championship, which then turned into the Television Championship. Then it turned into the King of the Mountain Championship, which ultimately got retired by Bobby Lashley. Eric Young is a three-time champion. He is also a one-time TNA World Beer Drinking Champion, which is very funny. A four-time Tag Team Champion alongside guys like Kaz, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Rhino, Joe Doreen, shoutouts to him, God rest his soul, and Diener, who apparently Diener, known as Christopher Gray, is now still works for TNA under the new name, the Hometown Man, which is very funny. He's a former two-time NWA Tag Team Champion alongside Bobby Roode, a former TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champion, which is very funny. Which again, I talked about that earlier on. TNA Turkey Bowl 2011 and 2012. TNA World Cup of Wrestling 2014 with Bully Ray, Gunner, Eddie Edwards, and ODB. 2016 King of the Mountain. 2022 Gauntlet for the Gold. 2026 Feast or Fired winner for the X Division Championship, which is crazy. And then he's also won 3 TNA year-end awards for Match of the Year, which was Eddie Edwards versus Ace Austin versus Trey versus Rich Swann versus Eric Young at Slammiversary. Moment of the Year 2020, returning to TNA at Slammiversary, shared with the other returns and debuts that night. And Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year 2006. And then, of course, in WWE, former NXT Tag Team Champion and a year-end award winner for Tag Team of the Year, alongside the rest of Sanity. So I thought he did win the 24/7 title, but I guess not. I probably was thinking about Bobby Roode, but yeah. So I mean he's won championships. He's won championships in every single promotion he's been a part of, and now it seems like WWE is interested in bringing him back. But the question is, are we going to see it? Can it actually be done? The answer is yes. It can be done. And the reason for it is because right now Eric Young is in his late 40s, and he can still wrestle with the best of them. However, it seems like there are some fans that believe that he should be on the main roster. I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, I think he's better off back in NXT, because when you look at Shawn Spears, his time on the main roster from his NXT call up in 2019, either 2018 or 2019, it was completely short lived, right? Like he had no chance. He had no chance of getting any championship opportunities. No opportunities at the Money in the Bank briefcase. No opportunities to wrestle on the grand stage of WrestleMania in a one-on-one match. He never had that shot. So he ultimately got released from WWE during COVID, and look at him now. He is back, stronger than ever. However, with him being kicked out of the culling, it seems like Shawn Spears may be at the end of his time as a full-time talent, which is quite possible. And people forget Shawn Spears is a former NXT North American champion and a former NXT Heritage Cup champion in his own right, which even that alone is absolutely crazy. But some people still believe that he's ready for the main roster, but I don't see it that way, because we know that if he gets called up to the main roster, where we're now just weeks away from SummerSlam, there's no point in seeing him get booked in matches every single week when he's just gonna get lost in the shuffle, kind of like with what happened to Eric Young, because he got released from WWE. I believe he got released from WWE. Eric Young got released from WWE, I believe. Yeah, yeah, literally in the same year during COVID, just days after WrestleMania. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. During the COVID-19 pandemic, on April 15th, 2020, Eric Young was released from WWE, as was a large batch of talent, staff, camera crew, commentators, and even referees. And one of the best referees of them all, Mike Chioda, also got released, which sparked a lot of backlash from the fans directly to WWE. I will say that if we do see Eric Young back on the main roster, it's not gonna look pretty. There's no point. Again, it's the same thing with Shawn Spears, right? There's no point in seeing Eric Young back on the main roster if he's just gonna get lost in the shuffle. I mean, Matt Cardona was one thing because he had already won more than like two what 24 championships since his departure from WWE in that same batch. That's one thing, right? Like, we knew that Matt Cardona was gonna go places. He was gonna do big things outside of WWE, and he did that, calling himself the indie god, the king of the death matches, all that other bullshit. So for Matt Cardona to come back to the main roster, that's one thing. Like obviously, yes, he is getting a lot more screen time because of the chaos involving Dan involving Danhausen and uncursing the New York Knicks, ensuring that the Knicks would win the NBA Finals and whatnot. That's one thing, right? Like that's all well and fine. But Eric Young is completely different because when he was in TNA, he was a big star. He was one of the biggest megastars in TNA history. But when he got signed to NXT, he became such a huge threat that WWE ensured that he did not get anywhere near the NXT championship at that time. So I believe now would be the perfect time to see Eric Young back in NXT and just doing his own thing. Like maybe we could see him coach from time to time, but for the most part, I think Eric Young's wrestling career is going to end in TNA. Possible? Absolutely. Bound to happen? Only time will tell. However, WWE is not the only promotion that is looking to bring him back. In fact, there are several other promotions that are interested in signing him, including promotions like the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, AEW, all these other promotions. They want to bring him to their promotion, but the only question is, who will get to Eric Young first? Only time will tell. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.